Go. So where were we up to?
I never realised that we left something out of all
Yeah,
this.
go on.
In 1964, we met. In 1964, I landed the job with my uncle, Van Dorn, selling earth-moving equipment and graders and excavators and so forth, in this roaming around the Western District of Victoria.
Mm.
That turned out to be a pretty damn good job. We did well financially at that stage, and by coincidence, no, not by coincidence, but sadly, when Jared was born, your mother got ill for the first time, and it was obvious that I had to remain home, not be away in the bush. So I quit that job and got a job in the plastics industry, which was meant to be my career for the next 50 years nearly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that's when I got General Electric took me under their wing and educated me in marketing. And eventually I finished up as marketing manager at ME Hogg because they got the agency for General Electric Plastics, which I was the pioneer of.
Right, okay. Wow.
And then that was all happening while we were living in Sassafras. And as I said, I stupidly decided to do my own business, leaving ME Hogg. And that didn't work out, so we ran into financial difficulties. And that's why we moved from Sassafras down to Port Melbourne.
Right.
And
you were in the butcher shop.
That's right. That's right. Yes. The butcher shop was sort of a stopgap thing because I was able to work there and still raise your kids for the next couple of years.
Yeah. Well, Mum was sick.
Yeah. After all that, after you all kids went back to your mum, I found a job with the organisation called Plastics Institute of Australia, which was virtually a lobbying group for the plastics industry. I was given the job of managing industry groups, and I did extremely well there. At one stage, the opportunity to publish their magazine called Plastics News came up, so I took on that business on the proviso that if I made any profits from the magazine, the profits were mine. If I lost money, the profits was my problem. So I virtually owned the business. And I joined that business with one of the other colleagues at Plastics Institute, Noel Harris. So we were partners for a few years until it became obvious that Noel couldn't really offer anything to the business. And he retired and I took it over on my own full time. But while I was doing the publishing, I was also remained as a manager of the industry groups for the Plastics Institute. And then eventually the members wanted to change it from an institute to an industry association. They still kept the initials PIA. Instead of Plastics Institute, it became Plastics Industry Association. And because of the threat to the plastics industry by the environment movement, like recycling of plastics and so forth, the members decided that they needed a high-powered executive type person to lead the industry defence. So they hired Susan Ryan, a senator who had resigned from the Senate and became the CEO of Plastics Industry Association. And she worked in that job from 1989 to 1993, when eventually the board decided to move on from her and amalgamate the industry association with the chemical industry to form a new group called Plastics and Chemicals Industry Association. In the meantime, because Susan Ryanwood left, I got appointed the CEO of the association, which I held for 3 years while the amalgamation was going on with the chemical industry. It didn't suit me to stay on with the industry association because of the amalgamation. I could see it wasn't going to work. And I was right, it didn't, and now it doesn't exist. But I still managed to continue publishing the magazine, and I started publishing the magazine in 1985 and didn't stop publishing it until 2011. That was a number of years. It came to a full stop. The business failed because of the global financial crisis that came along and ruined my business, because all my advertising ceased. I had no income for the business, so I had to close it down.
So it must have been hard, having
Yeah, it was.
been so successful for so long.
Yeah, I still get shivers about the about that after all those years, because I was used to having a lot of money. Now I don't have any.
Yeah.
I've been rich and I've been poor. Rich is better.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's life.
And what about your marriage to Jeanette?
Oh yeah. All right, can we have a break? I'll have a smoke.
Oh yeah.